I don't think they should do that.
Like a big blender, okay?
I think they ought to leave them alone and let them live.
We think cows are for milk, and when they stop giving milk, then we would eat them, wouldn't we?
Well, I don't know.
Yep.
Because they don't use their common sense really and look into things.
Basically, just a few statements. You give your thoughts.
Oh, all right.
So the first one is about chickens and turkeys. Okay?
Yeah.
So young chickens and turkeys, you might know some of this, you might not do, by the way. Young chickens and turkeys, they quite often have their beaks trimmed.
Yeah.
It's basically to avoid them from pecking and harming one another because they're normally held in confined spaces.
Yes.
So this process does have the potential to cause significant pain and suffering, and although the RSPCA will openly admit they don't like that process and claim they want to phase it out, they do still permit it as long as it's performed by a trained professional.
Yeah.
Do you think that process can ever be justified?
No, I don't think so.
No,
You don't think so?
No, I don't think so.
No?
I don't think they should do that.
No? So the next one is chicks, baby chicks. Okay? Now, because they don't lay eggs, on their first day of life, male chicks are often separated from the female chicks. They go male here, female over here. The male chicks are normally put on a big conveyor belt. This is industry-wide. And they will drop them into a massive macerator and they're ground up alive, like a big blender. Now, the RSPCA actually prefer the chicks to be gassed using argon. They think that's a nicer way of happening. So that process, it doesn't take any longer than 6 minutes for them to suffocate to death. Occasionally less, of course. What do you think of that process?
That's a good idea. I think it's a good idea.
It's better than the other one.
The suffocation,
Yeah.
exactly, yeah? Okay. Next one is male dairy calves.
Yeah.
Now, obviously the females are the ones that produce milk.
Yeah.
Yeah. So because the males are useless to the industry, this is non-RSPCA. The two most humane ways of disposing of unwanted calves is to hit them over the head with a spade or bolt gun them in the head. Okay.
No.
Normally on their first day of life. Now the RSPCA, they actually prefer farmers to use an electrical stunning method where you here and here and you get zapped.
Yeah,
That's what they prefer.
Yeah.
Okay. Now it reduces the ineffectiveness because sometimes the calf moves, so it reduces the ineffectiveness down from 14% down to 10%. This basically means out of the roughly 9,500 calves that are put down each month, only 950 of them aren't killed outright. Do you think that's a better process?
No, I don't think so. I don't.
No?
No.
No.
Okay.
I think they ought to leave them alone and let them live.
Yeah, it'd be nice. It's a lot of it's down to space.
Yes.
Yeah, they don't have, and well, actually, it's not down to space at all. It's down to money.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously they don't get any money from that. It's going to cost them. It's profit.
If it's cows, they've got a lot of food.
Yeah.
And that gets washed into the rivers and water.
Definitely. Okay, final one. Pigs.
Yes.
Okay. Now, before I say the statement, do you know how pigs are disposed of in the UK? How they're killed normally? No? Or if you were to guess how they were put down, what would you guess?
They're put down by bolt sort of gun or something.
Bolt gun? Yep. Yeah. The RSPCA approved way of killing pigs in the UK is to actually send them to a CO2 gas chamber.
Yeah.
Now this CO2 is an adversive gas. Basically it forms an acid on their eyes and in their lungs. It's a little bit like, the only thing I can think similar, if you if you drink a can of Coke the wrong way and it goes up your nose.
Yeah,
You've ever had that before and it kind of goes, and it burns you?
Yeah.
It burns the pigs from the inside out. Now it takes no longer than 3 minutes, often as little as 30 seconds for them to die that way. Do you think that way is acceptable?
Are the pigs fully grown?
Yeah, normally.
Yeah, because I mean they're good.
Well, when you say fully grown is different to being an adult.
An adult. Are they not adults?
No, I don't know.
No, so pigs are typically, I think, about 6 months old normally when they're sent to slaughter.
Yeah.
And they'll live for 10, 15 years if they were in a sanctuary, for example.
Yeah.
And in fact, I don't need that one anymore. But if you actually look at the age of all the animals that are slaughtered in slaughterhouses, all of them are babies. If you look at cows, for example,
Yes.
the average life expectancy of a cow within a sanctuary, for example, is about 25 years, 25 to 30 years, thereabouts.
Yeah.
They're normally disposed of at about 5 or 6 years old, particularly in dairy, so that it's like a fraction of their life.
Yeah.
Have you ever considered where your food comes from before?
No, I don't eat meat, you see.
You don't eat meat? No? For what reason? Was there a particular reason why you decided not
I
to?
had a very bad effect of turkey's food,
Oh yeah.
and I was rushed into hospital.
We went to a place where
Took a lining out of my stomach.
Oh, okay.
And I can't eat any meat.
No. Okay.
Don't eat anything.
no.
But do you, I mean, like I said, dairy cows as well, so do you consume milk or cheese?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
we do,
yes.
Yeah, or honey as well, obviously included in that.
Oh yes.
Yeah. So have you ever considered what is involved to get it in front of you at the first to eat?
Not really.
Not really, no. I mean, we think cows are from milk, and when they stop giving milk, then we would eat them, wouldn't we?
Well, I don't know.
Yeah. So, do you know? Do you know much? I mean, some people know a little bit. Some people know a lot. Some people know nothing. What do you know about the dairy industry? Like, what's involved to get you that milk?
You ought to know, because your
I'll give you-
had a cows and your uncle had loads and loads of chickens as well.
Yeah, I've given you a little bit of a clue already on the dairy side, but just with regard to the whole process. Yeah. So you know a little bit, would you say?
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, let me give you an incredibly cut down version. Okay, so quick question: what is the reason why cows produce milk?
To feed the young, I suppose.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So
Feed the young.
anyway, the cut down version of that industry. Farmers can't leave it to chance. It's an industry at the end of the day. Okay, so they can't wait for the cow to get pregnant. So what they have to do, they have to make her pregnant. So they hold her in a cage. There is a name for that type of cage because obviously she doesn't want it happening. And you've possibly seen this on TV, the farmer's got a big long glove on, they put the fist into the anus, and what they do is they hold down the cervix. Okay? What they then do with the other hand is they have a needle with an injection basically, and they inject her with bull semen. Now just to go back a step, to get that bull semen, that is just grim in itself. But to get that bull semen, it's typically done one of two ways. They have basically electro-ejaculated, I think it is, like a big dildo put into their backside to basically make them ejaculate. Or if it's not done that way, they actually just do it manually, which is exactly what it sounds like. Now, so that's to get the bull semen. She's then forcibly made pregnant, okay, and then they have the same cycle as a human pretty much. So roughly about 9 months later she will then give birth. Okay? Now, when she gives birth, cows of all the animals, okay, a bit fast.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So cows, out of all animals, they are one of the most maternal animals. They love their children, like we do.
Yeah.
They love their children. But the problem is that we can't let the calf have the milk because we want it. And this is why the males, for example, are typically killed on their first day of life, like I mentioned a minute ago. Yeah. Now the females, if they have a female, she goes through the process the same as her mum does. So the mum's given birth. The mum wants to see her child, love her child. When the child's taken away, she gets incredibly upset. So they cry. They actually call it lowing with cows. So she lows out for days, if not weeks, wanting her child to come back. Meanwhile, we're milking her. Approximately about a year later, the milk production starts to dry up a little bit. So to get them more money, get more milk out of her, they repeat that process and gives birth a second time, then a third time, and then sometimes a fourth time. Okay? At this point, the amount of anguish that she's gone through, she's then had like 4 children stolen from her. Yeah. She then does typically one of two things. She will either just stop producing milk altogether. She's like, why am I producing milk? No baby of mine's going to get it ever. Or they just collapse for mental anguish. They call it a spent, well, they actually call it a spent heifer. Yeah, they just collapse on the ground. And at that point, that's when they sent off to a slaughterhouse. And they're typically then sold for cheap cat food, dog food, some of your really, really cheap meats, sometimes it's sold for them.
Yeah.
Okay? But what a horrific life that they've had.
Yes.
Yep. And it is purely because we want a little bit of milk in our tea or some milk in our cereal. When the alternative, you've got soy, oats, almond, rice, cashew, potato milk they've got now, they've got pea milk now. There is literally tens, if not hundreds, of different types of alternatives to milk. So when you go to the supermarket, instead of going, oh, cow suffered, oh, no cow suffered for this, and you just get used to a slightly different flavour in your tea or your cereal. Exactly the same, obviously it's the same that the mother goes through to get cheese, things like this.
I'm going.
You okay? Yeah.
Yeah, I've got vertigo, you see.
Oh dear, okay, my grandfather has that. So all I'm saying to you is that these industries are horrific. And do you think there's a reason why people don't know about it?
Because they don't use their common sense really and look into things.
It's not, well, it is that a little bit, but there's also a lot of whitewashing that going on. The industry, if you look at the, in the supermarkets, it's happy hens, happy cows. What a lovely life they've led.
Yes.
Yeah, but you don't see all the horrible stuff that goes on. No? Do you think, if you understand how supply and demand works, yeah, when you buy something from the supermarket, whatever it is, you buy something and saying, look, I'm taking one of these away, you need to replace it with another one. That's how supply and demand works.
Yeah.
So whenever you go and buy these products, you're basically paying for these animals to go through this suffering.
I'm going to take my wife home now. It's very nice to talk to you.
Yeah.
What's your name?
My name's Mark. What is your name?
Keith.
Keith, and yours?
Angela.
Angela, lovely to meet you, Keith and Angela. All I would say to you is that in the supermarket, it's never ever been easier to buy those alternatives.
Yeah.
Try them out.
Yeah.
You're halfway there through no choice.
Yes.
Yeah? So you're not paying for those industries. You've heard of the word vegan before?
Yes.
Yep. It's not that it's a diet, it's against paying for the exploitation of these animals, the suffering of these animals.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. It's not about what we eat, it's about boycotting those industries.
Yes, yeah.
Please have a think.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
I hope you get home okay. Hope your vertigo goes soon as well.
Thank you.
You take care. Okay, thank you.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.